Hi everybody, John here with SoCal Outdoor Adventure. It's great to be back with you. One question I think that's going to pop up here on my channel here about my tarp shelter setup is going to be, what do I do about these carabiners as well as the prusik knots on the ridgeline, and is it a good idea to take them down? And the answer to that question is both yes and no. So you can actually go either which way. My personal recommendation though is that if you want a quick shelter setup system but you don't want to mess with having to put it back up, is to leave the ridge line up. It makes it a lot easier, and it also makes it a lot better for when you're setting up tarp shelters or if you want to set up other shelter systems. And this is what this particular ridge line is used for. This is mainly used for a ridge line setup system for a tarp shelter. Now always keep in mind that I do have extra paracord and bank line in my pack that I do carry in case I want to set up other systems using the same knots that I've used before, such as maybe like another ridge line for perhaps maybe some clothing, or maybe I want to put another shelter setup or somewhere. It just depends on where I am and where I'm going. But if in case you do, what you can go ahead and do though is that if you don't want to leave the carabiners, you can go ahead and pull your carabiners off the loops, put them away, or you can just leave them on here. Personally, I recommend leaving them on. What I'm going to go ahead and do here when taking the shelter down is I'm going to move the furthest prusik loop over all the way down to the other one. And then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and move them closer towards my main carabiner that's connected to this tree right here. Now, next step I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and untie my trucker hitch at the end of my ridge line. Now, in case you're wondering why my trucker's hitch in this particular end of the loop here doesn't have a carabiner on it, I know that's another question that people ask. And the simple answer to that question is that it just simply doesn't work. I mean, I've tried multiple times putting carabiners on the end of my line here just to make it easy when setting up a quick deploy ridgeline system. But the problem is that, one, you don't know how far away the trees are going to be from each other, and two, it all depends on your location. So personally, I'd rather keep one end of my ridgeline free from a carabiner and keep the other end with the carabiner. But always remember though that you can use the carabiner with, you can always go ahead and remove the carabiner and either put the ridgeline through the loop or use a wooden toggle. But I like to use the carabiner. Okay, so now I'm just going to lock it, release, lock it back into place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my prusik loops back towards the carabiner, and just for a little extra security, I'm going to go ahead and connect the two carabiners with the prusik loops to the main carabiner. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it through my middle finger and the third finger, and I'm going to make a figure 8. And this will help keep my ridge line together. Now the other good thing about this setup too as well is that if this particular ridge line I have were to break or something were to happen, God forbid, then what I can go ahead and do is I can just remove the prusik knots and the carabiner and transfer it to another ridgeline system setup. Now there's another roping technique that you can also use too as well when it comes to putting away your rope, and that is the cowboy technique. And what the cowboy technique is that you basically you hold on to your rope and you're going to go ahead and make multiple loops into the rope. Maybe I'll demonstrate that in perhaps in another video. Also, another technique that you can also use too to tie your rope as well is what's called over the shoulder technique. Problem is that with the over the shoulder technique, you tend to get really fast with that technique, and it can really screw up your line. So there we go. Now I'm done. I can throw this back in my pack. I can throw this back in my bag that has my tarp shelter set up, and I'm done. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And this video will also be made for kids. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, and don't forget to click on the bell icon and be notified of new videos. And we'll see you in the next adventure. Now go outside and have an adventure. Bye.